Yo, what's going on RET fam? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be covering fat loss diet hacks. Now, what do we mean by fat loss diet hacks? Why would you need to hack your diet in order to lose weight? We don't necessarily mean actual hacks for your diet, like a little computer coder. Matrix. There is things you can do with your diet to help make things a little bit easier, a little bit less, what's the word, Alex?
A bit more sustainable. You're going to adhere a lot more if you incorporate these hacks. We're going to break it down into the science, why it works, how it works, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, because ultimately, even now to this day, it's 2020, there's still a shit ton of confusion. There's a lot of overcomplication on diet. How do you diet? Look, keto, OMAD fasting, the snake diet, eating snakes. I used to do the warrior diet back in high school. There's so many ways you can go about in terms of creating a calorie deficit. But what is the best way? What are the best hacks to do that? So we're going to take you through today. No bullshit, no BS. Me and Tom, between us, we've got like, what, 15 plus years?
No, mate, about 50 years.
Yeah,
about 50 years of experience at least.
Combined experience.
So, to emphasize what Alex just said, there is a lot of confusion in the fitness industry or in the health industry in general when it comes to dieting. There's a lot of misconstrued information out there, different kind of fads, different diets that all claim to be the most efficient when it comes to losing fat. It doesn't need to be overcomplicated. You don't need to do these stupid fad diets that are a temporary way for fast weight loss. So, examples of different diets, fad diets, keto. So ketogenic diet is literally what, zero carb.
Zero carb. I did this actually for like 6 months to really give it a solid go because the research again is conflicting. Like you see it on Joe Rogan podcast, these doctors claiming like they make whole YouTube channels just on keto and they have a huge following and okay, they're lean, but that is not necessarily the case as to why they are lean.
We will come on to how you get lean.
How you get shredded.
How to get shredded.
We're not shredded yet, but we will be.
OMAD, so you know a bit more about this as well, the OMAD diet.
OMAD, it's just basically fasting, but in the sense that you're cramming all your calories into one big meal. OMAD, one meal a day. And it's not that it doesn't work, but is it necessary? Is it sustainable for you and your lifestyle? Because at the end of the day, I know for me, I don't want to go all day without food and then have to cram it in.
Horrible, it's not convenient at all.
And you can break it down to nutrient partition as well. Is that effective in that sense? Probably not.
How are you supposed to even function having like one meal a day, man?
You're going to be hungry throughout the day. It's not worth it. It's not a life. We're all about sustainability. We're all about being practical in terms of getting lean because you can do it. Just ignore these gurus, ignore these zealots in extreme scenarios. So with anything, extremes are never the answer. It's never just clean dieting. It's never just fasting or keto. It's somewhere in the grey area. So like we said, we're going to break it down. We're going to discuss how we do it, why you should do it the way we do, and why it's probably, as the science shows, the best way to do it in terms of sustainability. Because if you can't sustain it, ultimately it's what always comes down to with a diet. If you cannot sustain it, then it's not a good diet because nobody has an issue with losing weight. It's keeping it off. So a lot of girls, especially for girls, they crash diet, they just dramatically slash the calories and they'll lose the weight, they'll lose the water weight. What happens? A rebound and you put it all back on with a suppressed metabolism. So we're going to take you through the best diet that we found is going to help mitigate that effect. It's going to help combat, I'm blabbering on, but blah, 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 blah.
All right, Alex, mate. All right, we get the point. All right, there's a lot of misconstrued information out there and very confusing information in terms of which is the best diet to follow, which is the most efficient for fat loss. But why? Why do we want to follow a solid diet in order to help us lose weight and get shredded? Okay, so in order for a diet to be good, point number one, it needs to be sustainable. Now, why does it need to be sustainable, Alex?
Well, it's pretty self-evident, but in case you need to spell it out for you, sustainability is key. If you cannot sustain it, then it's not a good diet by definition because you're going to feel hungry, you're going to be food focused and you will inevitably binge. You are going to do it, you're human, you only have so much willpower. Willpower is finite, so creating a diet that is going to not feel like you're restricting is going to help you keep the fat off. It's going to help you keep lean, it's going to help you look better, feel better, and when that happens, you win.
You're not a fucking snake, mate. How do you expect to go a whole week without eating and then just eat meals on the weekend? I mean, it's a level of snake. You know, it's just not gonna. It's not sustainable. You can't do that shit. Especially with carbs as well. Carbs is like our when it comes to like a ketogenic diet. Carbs is our primary source of energy from food. From
Carbs
diet.
are amazing, man. Carbs.
Yes, exactly. So you can't go without eating. You can go without eating carbs, but it's not going to be the best. It's not going to be most efficient. So also point number 2 for why would you want to follow a good diet when it comes to losing weight? Improve performance. Okay, so obviously we want to gain muscle, we want to be big, we want to look good. When we peel off all of this luscious fat, we want to have a good solid foundation of muscle.
Strong muscle.
If we are crash dieting, if we are not eating any carbs, if we are following these shitty fad diets, we're not going to be able to perform properly in the gym. And performing in the gym, lifting weights, being athletic is going to be what's going to help retain that muscle. And without the muscle, what's the point in shredding it all off?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, what's the point in dieting if you haven't got a good aesthetics physique underneath?
So a big resounding theme here in terms of how we're going to keep the fat off is this main principle: satiating.
Hey, Junior. Yes, master.
All right, so we've broken down into the what and the why, and now we're going to get into the meat of the video, the how, the actual hacks.
The hacks, lad. The R1, L2, L1, R2, left down, right up, left down, right up, infinite weapons.
GTA San Andreas videos, the fucking days. So, first point, and it's reoccurring, and it's the biggest factor that's going to determine if you're going to actually be able to stay lean, and not only just get lean, but stay lean, and that is satiation. A satiating diet is going to keep you full, it's going to keep you satisfied, it's going to prevent you from wanting to overeat. So when we break that down, we're going to break it down into 4 main points, and that is
protein, protons, fiber, volume, and palatability. Tastes nice.
All right, so why we want high protein? High protein is very satiating. It takes a while to digest, and when things take a while to digest, you're going to feel fuller.
Not only that as well, with protein, it has got the highest thermic effect of food. Oh, love that word, mate. Highest thermic effect of food. So essentially, compared to fats and carbohydrates, protein uses more calories
to actually utilize it.
To digest it. So as a result, you burn more calories from eating a high protein diet.
It's a win-win. Fiber as well. Again, this is satiating. It's going to slow down the digestion. Not only that, it's great for your gut microbiome, and we know more and more science now has shown that the gut microbiome is actually linked to cravings, it's linked to your hunger, it's linked to your actual mental mood, it's actually linked to your mental state as well. So if you are good mentally, you're not going to be emotionally eating. So all these things are interconnected, but essentially high fiber, definitely no less than 30 grams. Like I think a good general rule is 20% of, I can't remember the rules, I don't want to say it. It's like for every 1,000 calories, it's 20 grams, something like that. Whatever. I would definitely advise, if you're an athlete, no less than 30 grams of fiber a day. I have personally up to about 50, sometimes 60.
Spend half a day in the toilet, lad.
Me in the toilet like that, you know? So just fly out like fucking cars.
Quick foods, so like
so fruit time fiber,
fruit, veg, popcorn, whole grain cereals, whole grain beds.
Yeah, if you're having whole food, if you're having a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruit, by default you're going to be getting a lot of fiber in. So I make sure to have, apples, bananas, broccoli, oats, wholemeal bread instead of white. There's nothing inherently bad about white bread, it's great, but if you want to get that extra fiber, it's going to keep you full.
Yeah.
Get your wholemeal. Same with the rice as well, but you can break it down, but fundamentally just eat your fruit and veg, and by default you're going to be getting enough fiber.
Okay, so point number 3 when it comes to having a satiating diet. One thing that's going to help is having high food volume.
Yeah.
So the way we can do this, what we mean by food volume, is the actual size of your meals are bigger. So rather than eating calorie dense foods such as
Snickers,
peanut butters, sweets, chocolates and whatnot, we are utilizing low calorie foods that are high in volume. So for example,
a bowl of salad,
fruit, vegetable, salad, so big bowls of salad. Broccoli, just sugar-free jelly. Sugar-free jellies are high volume,
jelly.
help fill you up, and they're literally, some of them are 0 calories, I believe.
Again, I'm repeating myself, but it's true. A lot of vegetables, a lot of fruit. Vegetables are generally higher in volume, since fruit is typically higher in calories due to the sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want high volume, go for your veg, go crazy on it. Put your peppers in your eggs, your onions. If it's a vegetable, just frickin' eat it, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And the reason why this works is because as you expand your stomach, this releases ghrelin. Ghrelin is the hormone that says, hey, look, we're hungry or we're not. So when you expand on your stomach, ghrelin is released, cues to your body that, okay, food is coming, we're good, stop sending off the signal, Gucci. There's another one called leptin, which we'll get into with carbohydrates, but for now, that is why volume works, ghrelin. So high volume food, get you fruit and veg, bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom.
So the fourth and final point for satiation is palatability. Now this basically means how tasty a food is. Now, obviously you want to make your food tasty enough so that you're going to actually adhere to your diet, you're going to stick to it, you're going to look forward to eating the meal, so it's not going to feel like you're dieting. But at the same time, you want a nice balance of, if it's over palatable, if it's too tasty, if it's hyper palatable, as they say, risking overeating on that food. So let's take a bowl of oats for example. Plain bowl of oats, not very tasty. Let's add milk, a bit of more flavour. Okay, still not that tasty. Start adding some fats into that bowl of oats, peanut butter. Pretty tasty now. Okay, what about sugar? Smack on some jam, smack on some sugar. Really tasty. Now you're running the risk.
Get a crack in there as well.
Yeah, a bit of heroin. And you're done for, mate. But you see my point. There's a balance of it. Don't make things too tasty. Don't have too many flavours going on. Don't have too much fat, too much sugar, too much sweetness. Don't have too much sweetness, don't have too much fat, don't have too much salt, and you'll be okay.
But at the same time, don't make your food taste like shit, because you're not going to want to eat it.
You don't have to be doing like chicken, rice and broccoli.
Experiment a little bit,
Yeah.
Get some flavours on the go, but again, don't make it too overly palatable, because as Ali said, you're probably more prone to binging.
Because personally what I do, I eat what I eat in the off season to what I eat when I'm trying to lean down, just smaller portions, or I buy like low calorie substitutes. So for example, I have chicken wraps pretty much every day, and I have that when I'm bulking, so mentally it doesn't feel like anything's changed too much. So, and same like in the morning, bowl of oats, eggs on toast. It's nothing fancy, it's nothing that special, but it doesn't have to be like these juice cleansers and super clean food, because it's not sustainable. You can't just eat salads every day super clean, because you're gonna feel restricted and you will binge.
So another point on diet hacks. Now, this isn't necessarily a hack, it's more of just a bit of key information, and that is high carbohydrate is key to having a solid diet if your goal is to maintain muscle mass and lose body fat. Now, carbs are often made out to be the enemy. Zero carb diets, as we said before, like keto. But carbs are your friend. They're your body's primary energy source. So without carbohydrates, you're not going to be able to form, and again, you're not going to be able to retain that muscle mass that you're, working to reveal. So high carbohydrate also helps with sleep as well. Carbs before bed.
Precursors of tryptophan, which makes you feel sleepy, and serotonin. So not only is it going to make you fall asleep better, but you're going to feel better throughout the day. So get your carbs, don't be scared of it, especially if you're an athlete, which you are if you go to the gym. If you're active, carbs are your friend. The only time you have to worry about carbs is if it's highly processed carbs. So again, junk food, then you'd have to maybe worry about it if you're having that in an excessive amount. But ultimately, don't listen to the keto zealots. I've done it myself, the research as well. Carbs are your friend, carbs are good for you, and
eat your fucking carbs, mate. Okay, so the second point is high micros. So we've got macros and we've got micros as well. So your micronutrients is everything you get from your fruit, your veg, your essential fats.
Nutrients, minerals. It's not spoken enough about, because if it fits your macros community, it works. Like if you want to have Snickers all day and you're at a calorie deficit, you're going to lose weight, but you're going to feel like shit. And also to add to that, with these higher, with a concentration of high micros, if you're getting a well-rounded diet in terms of nutrients and minerals, your hunger is actually going to be less, because your body doesn't actually know. It has hunger signals, but it's quite vague. So if you're craving, I know for you when you're on prep, you said you just started craving tomatoes.
Now, literally out of nowhere. I don't even like tomatoes, but while I was on prep, it's like my body subconsciously knew the types of nutrients, micronutrients that I needed. It's kind of like a woman when she gets pregnant, I guess. Their bodies naturally start to crave random foods,
iron,
and it's probably like a deficiency in that micronutrient. So when it comes to dieting, obviously you're going to be eating less food, and that runs the risk of having less micronutrients from your diet, because the sheer volume of food is less.
Dieting is controlled starvation, so over time you can become malnutrition.
Exactly, But then having high micronutrients is not only going to help keep you satiated, as Alex said. It's going to help with energy, and energy can be put into your workouts. Again, going back to that high carb, improving performance. Again, with micronutrients, they're essential for efficient muscle function, bodily function, recovery. So
high metabolism as well.
Yeah, if you're neglecting macros in a diet, you're going to have a lot of a rougher time in terms of trying to really get into good shape just through pure fatigue. So high micronutrients, highly recommended. Okay, so moving on to the next point, and a point I like a lot, and we briefly just touched on it with the macros, but if it fits your macros. Now, it's not essential when it comes to losing weight. It's not needed, but it's definitely a hack. It's 100% a hack. If you know how to use dieting apps such as MyFitnessPal, it can be a great tool when it comes to trying to lose weight. You can eat any food source you like, so long as it fits your macros. Now, that doesn't mean go out and binge on Snickers, sweets, and whatnot, but what's the rule? 80-20?
80-20 is a good safe rule. So 80% whole food, or some people call it in the industry clean food. 20% junk, 20% dirty, whatever you like. That way you can actually have a life outside of health, outside of fitness, and still reach your goals, because that 20% is going to allow you to go out with your friends and drink, or have a burger, or have something off plan, and still be able to lose weight.
So you've heard people say it 100 times, you've heard us say it 100 times, but calories in versus calories out, as long as you are eating to a certain amount of macros, certain amount of calories, you will lose weight. It gives you a little bit of freedom. You can, it's a little bit more sustainable. You don't have to be eating out of Tupperware all the time. But that doesn't go to say you can't eat consistent meals each day. But using the if efficient macros approach allows you to have a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more freedom.
Not only that, but it's going to be teaching you as well. So when you use these apps, when you use MyFitnessPal, whatever calorie tracking app you want to use, you are going to be learning along the way portion control. You're going to get a better understanding of what foods are high in certain macronutrients, or what foods are going to have a rough estimation of the calories in them. So say for me, I know when I eat out on like a Subway or whatever, I know that like a 6-inch is about 500-600 grams. 6 inch. I like a foot long myself. But yeah, I know that roughly based off these like 9+ years of tracking macros, I pretty much don't even have to track meticulously, because I've got such a good understanding of it, and I think you're the same as well with that.
After when you've been tracking using the if efficient macros for like a good period of time, you pretty much, it becomes instinct. You kind of have a good gauge of what you're eating throughout the day, and you can then go intuitively. So intuitively eating, you can kind of move away from that app, from being dependent on that MyFitnessPal, and it gives you a good basis on how much you should be eating on a day-to-day basis when it comes to losing or gaining weight.
Because ultimately as well, like, we're not taught this shit in school. You're not taught about nutrients or macros or proteins or calorie deficit. So you go into, you're allowed to eat however you like, but obviously you don't necessarily know what's good for you, especially with all this marketing, these food companies as well. They're designed to get you hooked. And like I said, it's not taught in school, so it's not obsessive. It's not sad to look at the back of a label and see it.
No, it's not.
Like I feel a bit weird sometimes, because when I go shopping, I look at it and people are looking like, what's he doing? But then again, it's like, you're ignorant, mate.
I think it's dumb. It's dumb if you don't. You should know what you're putting in your body.
Exactly.
Moving on, kind of like a little secret hack here. A great way to curb that sweet tooth, if you do have a sweet tooth, when it comes to dieting.
I do, mate.
Yeah, I know. Alex is a bit of a fat boy at heart, so he likes his this one.
Chocolate, cookies, the whole lot.
Yeah. So if you've got a sweet tooth in particular, 0-cal alternatives or low sugar alternatives are a great way to curb that sweet tooth. If you like a little treat every now and then, you can incorporate it into your everyday foods. Like, say for instance, if you have an oats, you can put low-cal syrups on there. You can put in sweeteners, stevia.
Yeah. You can get protein now that's flavoured with chocolate, so you pretty much got no excuse. Personally, for me, I'll give you a personal example. I have hot chocolate now, because I know late at night I get the sweet tooth craving, so I just have hot chocolate, 40 calories, boom, done. Don't crave anything, gonna adhere to the diet, and I'm gonna get shredded.
Getting that same satisfaction with like a chocolate bar.
Yeah, and I don't even feel like I'm dieting. Like, I go to bed satisfied, I've had my sweet tooth, I've had my calories. Yeah. It's a win-win.
Talking about chocolate, dark chocolate.
That's a game changer.
Now, absolute game changer. I've just started it now because Mo and Alex both eat dark chocolate. Sometimes even first thing in the morning, nice little square dark chocolate. Reason for this, it's an appetite suppressant.
It's an appetite suppressant. Not only that, it's got antioxidants in, so it's actually pretty freaking healthy for you as well.
Now, we're not talking about like 60% or 7% dark chocolate, like dark chocolate. It's like 85 up. So it's quite bitter, but it definitely curves that kind of sweet tooth, that curves that appetite, 100%.
If you're a dark chocolate fanatic like me, maybe you can go for the full 100, but be warned, it is like bitter.
Eating fucking mud.
It's like you meet a girl at a festival, you go back decide to.
I bet you're like 90 plus.
Yeah. And the last hack, and it's pretty anticlimactic, but it works. Water. Now, why does this work? Why would you consider this a hack? Well, ultimately, a big part of this is hunger. A big part of the main part of dieting is trying to stave off hunger. And part of it, you are going to be hungry at times, but there are ways you can mitigate it through these hacks. And the last point was water. Sometimes you're actually just thirsty rather than hungry. So if you've got a craving for something, and I've done this as well, like I think I'm hungry, but in actuality, you actually just want a bit of fruit, like an orange or a kiwi, something hydrating that's gonna satiate you. So before you go for some extra calories or an off the plan, or you go binging or whatever, make sure your water's high, because people speak about it all the time, like, oh, drink your 2 liters a day to stay hydrated, it's gonna keep you full. Yes, but they don't talk about how you mistake hunger for actually thirst.
Yeah, and I'd say if you're like an active individual, if you're someone that goes gym, naturally you are going to have a higher water requirement than someone that doesn't. So recommend 3 to 5 litres a day. Make sure you're hydrated. If you get hungry, have a drink first. If you're still hungry, maybe have a snack. Okay.
Or dark chocolate.
Yeah, or dark chocolate. But
I mean, I'm drinking water right now, and a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't like the taste of water." Well, shut the fuck up, because there's things like 0-calorie drinks like Vimto, Robinson's, Cordial, whatever you want to do. That's what I do to get the water up, typically around 2-3 litres a day, depends how active I've been, but water definitely helps, man.
So, wrapping up this video of fat loss diet hacks. There's a lot of confusion floating in the air around which is the best diet, but it really isn't as overcomplicated as it seems.
I want to say there is no best diet as well, we need to make this clear. Like these keto, like people, as human beings, we want things simplified, we want things black and white. Like that is why like these videos get tons of views, like the best diet, because if you find the best diet, then you've won. But sorry, mate, you've got to try and error. You've got to find what works for you. I know it's a broken record saying that, but it is true. You've got to find what works for you. You've got to find what is sustainable, what you're going to be able to adhere to.
Avoid fad diets. Find what works for you. It's really not that complicated. You need a diet to be sustainable. So, the reason for this, you need to avoid binging, prevent rebounds and whatnot from being, let's say, like running like a crash diet. And also, the reason why I don't want to follow one of these shitty fad diets is because we want to have improved performance in the gym. The reason why we're taking all this fat off in the first place is to unveil that godly physique.
So to sum it up, satiating, get foods that fill you up. Protein, fibre, volume, palatability. High carb, keep your carbs high, they're going to help with performance, thermogenic effect. Bada bing, bada boom. I want to also add to that as well very quickly. Carbs help with this thing called your thyroid, which is located in your neck. You don't need to know that, all you need to know that carbs help with the conversion of T3 to T4, which is going to help keep your metabolism nice and high. So again, keep them fucking high, mate. High micros. So yes, get your macros, but also when you break that down, focus on your fruit and veg, focus on your nutrients, your minerals, because you're going to be less hungry because you mitigate the risk of being malnutritioned, so hunger isn't going to be as high. Not only that, you're going to feel better, you're going to perform better, which is going to come back on to NEAT, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis is going to be higher, so that means you are able to eat more, thus you're less likely to binge.
If it fits your macros, so this allows you to be a bit more flexible and also gives you like a foundation of education when it comes to nutrition. So if it fits your macros, use an app, maybe try MyFitnessPal, stop following your strict diet plans. If they work for you, they work for you. But a big hack that's going to help you in the long run is using if it fits your macros. Highly recommended. Gives you a little bit more freedom. Water, so don't mistake your hunger for thirst. Make sure you're drinking at least 3 to 5 litres of water a day, especially if you're an active individual. If you're watching this, you probably are. Get your water in. If you need to have like orange juices, if you need to have like diet drinks, do so.
Do it.
Diet drinks, sweet tooth. So if you need to curb that sweet tooth, 0-cal alternatives such as syrups, sodas, dark chocolate, all that kind of good stuff is going to help you curb that sweet tooth, keep you in check, and also give yourself a little bit of reward at the end of the day. If you want a little hot chocolate, have a little hot chocolate. Alright?
Alright guys, that's it. That's been another video on nutrition. No bullshit, no BS. This is literally all you need to know to get lean. This is exactly what we do, and it's exactly what you should do. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Any more questions, any confusion, which there shouldn't be, but on the off chance there is, comment below, shoot us a DM. Any closing comments, Tom?
Be sick, be shredded, Peace out. Love you to bits. Bye.